So it's been nearly a year since Octopus Energy launched any new tariffs. Energy prices continue to rise, competitors are innovating. You just got to take a look at what E.ON's doing with NextDrive. There seems to be a new version of that tariff every other week. So what's next for Octopus? Are they falling behind? Let's dive in and explore some ideas for 2026. Octopus has built a reputation for creative and fair tariffs. But recently they've been focused on installations, whether it be solar and batteries, heat pumps, EV chargers, which is all great for Octopus's business, but has no direct impact on bringing down the costs of energy. So the question is, what should they do in 2026 to make sure they maintain their leading position? Now, over the next few minutes, I'm going to give you 3 ideas. These are ideas that have come from myself and the community, people that I've talked to, and I'm sure there are 100 other ideas out there. And I'd love to hear about every single one of them in the comments below. But let me give you my 3 ideas to start with, and you can tell me why they will work or why they won't. Okay, suggestion number 1, fewer, fairer tariffs. Octopus has way too many tariffs and there's some significant simplification needed. If you want proof of this, head over to Tim and Kat's Green Walk, a great channel. Tim does some really excellent work on breaking down all the tariffs and has produced a number of tools that let you see which is the best tariff for you. The fact Tim has had to build those tools tells you it's too complicated and there are too many options for the average mere mortal to understand. So what would I do? Is I would do away with all of the tariffs except for those that are mandated by law, like a standard tariff, but I would have Go and Intelligent Go, and that's it. Now, the one thing this would do is it would stop the current situation where we're discriminating against people with different types of batteries. What do I mean by that? Well, if you are an EV owner, you can get Go and Intelligent Go. And therefore you can charge your EV overnight on the cheap rate electricity, and you can also charge everything in your house. So if you need to do washing, you run the dishwasher, or if you've got home storage batteries, you can charge them at the same time at that same low rate. But if you don't have an EV and you still have a home storage battery, you can't get those tariffs. And therefore you have to pay a higher rate to charge your batteries. So why are Octopus discriminating on people who have batteries with wheels attached versus those with batteries without wheels? So by simplifying the tariffs, we make it really easy. If you have the ability to take energy when it is the cheapest and store it for use later, whether that's to drive to the shops or to run your house, you should be able to do that. Because what you're helping doing is balance the grid. The other thing I would do with these tariffs is stop what is known as dual fuel discounts for people that take gas and electricity from the same supplier. The stated aim of the government and of Octopus is the electrification of the UK. So therefore, stop incentivizing people to have gas. Discount the standing charge for all electric homes. So if you get rid of your gas completely, you don't have a gas meter, give us an incentive to go all electric, even if we don't have a heat pump. There are plenty of houses out there that do not have a heat pump, but are on an all electric tariff, but are being penalised. They're paying more because they don't have a dual fuel discount. Again, simplify everything. Simple tariffs. If you can use electricity when the grid needs you to use it, then you should be able to get it cheaply. Okay. Suggestion number 2, smarter export tariffs. Now, most of us have been predicting that the current flat export rates just aren't sustainable. And to be totally honest, I'm completely surprised that they've lasted all through this summer. You would think as more and more people get solar, more and more people are exporting energy to the grid would actually have an oversupply of energy during those hot summer days. And I'm surprised that they've been able to maintain that 15 pence per kilowatt hour throughout this summer. What I would do then is, as part of the simplification of tariffs, is I would simplify the export rate into something that is reactive to the grid's needs. That would mean if you export energy at night when the grid really doesn't need it, you would get paid nothing or a very small amount. If you export it during the height of the day when it's nice and sunny outside, you would get a reduced amount. So maybe instead of paying you 15 pence per kilowatt hour, they would only pay you 7 pence per kilowatt hour. But if you can then store that energy and export it when the grid needs it the most, that's generally between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m, that you would be paid a premium. Now I know what you're thinking. We already have that today. That's called a flux tariff. But a flux tariff doesn't work if you have an EV, because you need to be able to charge at a cheap rate during the night, which flux doesn't deliver. So by making the export tariff more fit for purpose for what the grid needs, we encourage people to store energy and then give it back to the grid when the grid needs it the most. This means that people who have home storage batteries, or who are looking at home storage batteries maybe without solar, can look at this and say, it actually is now financially viable for me to buy a battery and trade energy back and forward with Octopus. So I will buy it when they've got an oversupply, and I will sell it back to them when they've got an undersupply. Okay, suggestion number 3. Allow us to share our export solar with family, friends, neighbours, or just with people who need it. Right now, Octopus pays us 15 pence per kilowatt hour for every kilowatt hour that we export. And right now, if I want to help my daughter with her energy bill, I've then got to do a bank transfer and send that money to her, which she then gives back to Octopus. Makes no sense to me. I should be able to go into my Octopus web dashboard and I should be able to nominate one or more accounts and say, instead of paying me 15 pence per kilowatt hour, deduct that from this person's bill. Now, I know there will be costs for Octopus to be able to do this. There will be some admin fee. So maybe instead of paying me 15 pence a kilowatt hour, they would deduct 14 pence for every kilowatt hour from the person I nominate's bill. Or maybe there's another way to do this where they have like a central fund where you can donate a percentage of your export or a fixed daily amount to that fund, and that fund would help people who are struggling with their energy bills. All of this is just moving numbers around in a database or a spreadsheet, so I don't think it would be too hard for Octopus to implement. Make it really simple, allow us to add and remove people in our dashboard and say, we want to be able to give 10% of my export to this person, I want to be able to give £15 a month to this person, and maybe I want to donate 10% to a hardship fund. All of this is not beyond the wit of man. Octopus should be able to implement this really, really simply. Okay, that's my ideas. And again, I'm trying to not be too self-serving with these. Now, there are some of those that I would obviously benefit from, but I think those 3 ideas alone would set Octopus apart from its competitors, and it would generally reduce people's energy bills. But what would you like to see from Octopus in 2026? Now, I'm not saying that Octopus are going to watch this video and suddenly go, those are some great ideas, we should implement all of them. But I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to hear what ideas you have and what you'd like to see your energy company do in 2026. Whether that be new types of tariffs, better export rates, sharing schemes, whatever they are, drop your ideas in the comments below. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you found this interesting. I'd love to hear what you think, so hit me up in the comments below. And it just remains for me to say thank you for clicking on this video. I really do appreciate it. And if I'm lucky, I'll see you back here real soon for another one. Take care.